of those things. But I ended up doing a lot of my own editing, a lot of my own producing along the ways, just because there's not a lot of studios up here, so you kind of got to do it yourself. I do pixel art, as you can see in the original thing. There's some pixel art of mine. I'm a 3D artist, which I make games with Kicknick Games with Wyatt and George and Don. I'm a regular actor. Here's me on screen. That's a movie that's not out yet, but I did acting in it. I do facial motion capture, and I'm doing a play next month. That'll be exciting. I've been voice acting for almost 10 years. I've been on the radio for most of that is what I started calling voice acting. And I work at Grant Aviation, so you've probably heard me talk to you before if you've ever flown with Grant. Or if you've ever gotten their voicemail, that's me. Of course. Here's a cool ad I've done. We're gonna play some video. People ask what I've been in.
The Space Force has authorized your request. Your vessels have been granted access to Arrakis. It was a pleasure doing business with you.
Nothing too exciting, but it's Dune. I was so excited to do a Dune ad. And then Privateer is a space thing, and then right now I'm working on the Book of the Witch's Son. It's also a coming-of-age novel. People just like to do that with me. A young boy finds out he's a fairy and has to rule the fairy kingdom. What is voice acting? You probably know if you're here or not. A lot of people ask me all the time, like, what is that? When I say I'm a voice actor, it's like, I get paid to talk, sure, but also it's every commercial you've ever seen is voice acted. Well, not anymore, but at some point it was. Everything, yeah, commercials, e-learning exercises in schools, in jobs, when you're doing HR training and stuff like that. It's all that. Phones, every phone line. I've done all of that stuff. Lots of character work, video games, animation, podcasts, and then narration. It kind of takes both and combines them a little bit. You're doing some talking normally, and then you're doing characters in between. It's lots of fun. But it is a lot of editing. It is the bane of my existence, but it's fun. And I think everyone should voice act. Why? It's fun. It's so fun. And then representation. I don't know any Yupik native actors, voice actors, and I should. You guys should all do it, or anyone. And then collaborating, every time you work on someone else's story, you add your own voice to it and it becomes a whole new story. Especially like bringing up old classic tales, evolves into something new, and I love that. It's the most exciting thing about doing voice acting is like layers of art that we're all making a new thing together. And then narrating and preserving your family stories and writing your own stuff, you might want to save that as audio. I think that would be cool, because I could listen to it. And how did I get into voice acting? Or how do you get into voice acting? You need the technical setup. You need a microphone. Cheap? They're very cheap to get a $20 USB microphone. You want a standalone thing that's not like this. This is expensive. But you can get one that plugs into your computer's USB drive or USB slot, and that's how I started, and I got paid gigs like that before I made enough money to buy an XLR microphone, which it's not going to show on here, but I bought a Rode NT1. We'll slide through. Yeah, there it is. And it was like $300 with an interface, and the quality is so much better. You want big honking headphones so you can hear how good your stuff sounds. It's like the most important part, because a lot of people record on their phones when they're auditioning and listen to it on their phones, and you can't really tell what it sounds like until you have big headphones on. You can hear every little bit of noise and every little mouth noise. And then you want a booth to keep sounds out and your own sounds from reflecting back in. I started with a blanket fort over my desk, my computer, and it works. And then people do like PVC frames and like put blankets on them, but just use what you've got. Closets are big ones. This is a picture of my booth in the corner there with my cat, Eggnog. He's my supervisor and producer and editor. He's a big boy, but I have a whole studio that I've built now because I've done this for long enough and I love it. Software. You need software. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say this at the start. If you guys have any questions, feel free at any point to raise your hand so I can answer questions. Software, Audacity is what I use. What's your question? Go ahead. You cannot steal my cat. Maybe if he goes willingly, but I can't stop him. He's his own man. So, yeah. I've been doing it for 10 years. Well, I started doing radio about 10 years ago, and then sometime around there, I started working for a guy locally in Soldotna that he was doing e-learning production and was tired of doing it all himself and liked us on the radio, so he paid us to do it. And he gave me my first booth setup. I don't have a picture of that, but I was already recording at that point. Once I started working for him, I started recording in a blanket fort and yeah, auditioning and yeah. But software, Audacity is, oh, you got more? E-learning is like, if you ever have any classes where you sit on a computer and you have a person talk to you and then you do a quiz at the end of it, like, this is basically what we're doing right now, but if I wasn't here talking, you were just watching a video and it was telling you, software, Audacity, free and open source. You like that, don't you? Yeah, tons of functionality, and there's a good community online with a lot of information for you. And then there's Reaper. But like that's e-learning, how that sounds. And then at the end there's a quiz, and you have to do that. I do a lot of that. That's where I make a lot of money, but it's very boring for me. But I get to pretend to be a person who likes it, so it kind of becomes fun. You know? It's a character. It pays the bills. It becomes a character. Reaper's also free to try out, and there's a lot of tutorials online. It's a good thing to use. And Audition is Adobe, and you have to pay a monthly subscription, and it's what everyone in the big companies use, but it's meh, we don't need that. We've got the free stuff that works. And then there's a lot of skills that go into being a voice actor, but reading out loud is really challenging for people, especially when you're cold reading a script. You want to do it fluidly. You're reading the next word before you've even read the last word, and with good enunciation so everyone can understand where you are with your microphone. And acting. Acting is the most important part because you don't need to read well. You can sound, as long as people know there's a character there. But practice acting at the community theater. I know you guys have had some plays here recently. I've seen some stuff online. Looks cool. I'm very excited about that. Doing auditions online also is where I've really practiced the most acting because you do a lot of auditions before you start getting gigs. It's just how it works out. And then reading scripts with my friends, I do a lot of that. And you got to be able to break the rules and, yeah, not sound perfectly clear and enunciate perfectly all the time because you're going to sound like a robot otherwise. But there's a lot of technical skills, your microphone placement. I'm sure people have heard people talking and they do this a little bit and then it sounds kind of crazy. Or they do this and it doesn't sound like anything. And, you know, it's a lot of knowing what microphone you have and where to put it. And your booth setup, every sound makes a wave. It moves particles in the air. It's very technical, but it reflects back to you and comes into your microphone. So I'm sure you've heard people record before and it sounds kind of echoey, especially on like a laptop sound. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of tinny, but it's all the sounds bouncing off of something and hitting your microphone again. And that's why we have like the blanket forts and the foam in all the studios. They catch the sounds and it kind of absorbs the energy and it doesn't bounce back. And then editing and producing is the most technical thing that I won't get into here, but there's a lot of terms, but there's also a lot of people online that are very helpful, and I am one of them. If anyone ever has questions and is curious and wants to do this, I will answer your emails, which I'll put at the end of here. If you start doing this and practicing, I can listen to your stuff and help with that. And then there's special effects, but I mostly use effects to make things just sound cleaner without having to cut out every little part where I breathe too loud. I breathe very loud. And I make lots of mouth noises, so it's nice to have effects take care of those and not have to go in and cut them out by hand. And then, once we have all that set up, we got our audio, we got our microphone, we got our headphones, we got a booth or something, a blanket fort, or even if we're just recording at our computer, we need to find places to work online. There's lots of free places to do stuff. Castingcall.club, a lot of people, amateur people that are writing stuff that they want to hear voiced, we'll post stuff there. So if you guys are writers too, you can post stuff there and get people to work with you. Or if you have an idea of anything, like a lot of people do fan dubs of animes, that's a big thing on there. Or if you want to voice those, that's on there too. Voice Acting Club, it's a forum. That's where I started. The very first jobs I got there, I was reading poems for a guy's poem library. I don't know what else to describe it, but I got paid to do that. That was fun. And then searching on social media. There's lots of Facebook groups, Blue Sky and Twitter, and then Discord. Pretty much every place has a Discord. I am in 1 million Discord channels because every gig I've ever had has a Discord channel. Voice 123. It's so easy to find places. Just search voice acting. I'll have more up here too. But if you just search voice acting websites, these are the ones I like the most. ACX is the Audible thing. You can just go on there and audition to read audiobooks for Audible right on there. Anyone can do it. You don't have to have a professional studio or anything. And then Bunny Studio is where I've done most of my work. It's kind of a weird gig working website, but they pay me a lot. So, and then there's places you have to pay to be on, like voices.com. These are things I would suggest. Oh, go ahead. I do. What about him? Just curious. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've done a couple audiobooks. I've done a lot not under my name because I was kind of practicing and they were like someone's book they wrote and their English was not their first language, so they're not the most professional novels. And I was still learning how to edit them. It takes a long time, so I just put a fake name on there and we'll call it good. But Audible, the main audiobook platform everyone knows, you can just go audition on acx.com and every author who wants their book read can post it there and be read. Yeah, places you have to pay to be on. Voices.com, Voice123 also has a paid platform, same thing, but Bidalgo, there's a lot of places that you pay, and I usually avoid them just because there's a time and place for it. I got some good gigs off of them, but having to pay just to audition is kind of nerve-wracking to me. Yeah, yeah. Just frustrating when there's lots of people out there who want stuff voiced on a free website. Yeah, so get out there and act. Yes. That I use Audacity. Well, we're not going to go all the way back. Here. This is what it looks like. We'll do this. Since I blew through my presentation so fast. This is what Audacity looks like. Doesn't look like much, but then we can hit record here. Wants to. And it's recording. This is Audacity. It's very simple, or it's very complicated looking, but we really need the main stuff. We got recording, we got stop, play, record, you can listen back to it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff online that if you can't find the right places and you want to ask me questions, I'll have my email here at the end. Yeah, rangerhfox@gmail.com. Any questions about Audacity or just the editing stuff? Or yeah, go ahead. Yeah. It's a little too powerful, especially starting out. It took me a while to learn how to position it so I wasn't getting my computer sounds in it also. So that's like separating my booth from I had to start like build a separate booth from my computer because I was getting a lot of sound from my PC, which is why people don't have computers in their booths normally. But I got a TLM 103, which is a much more expensive microphone. It's like $1,500. And I couldn't give up my Rode. I kept using it for several more years just because I preferred the way it sounded. And then I eventually was like, it's technically better. It's objectively better. I just love this. I love the way it sounds. I don't know. But have you done much recording or? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there are tons of presents in it. Yeah, like compared to like a Shure SM7B, which would be more song singing stuff, a dynamic microphone compared to the condenser um, goes along what you can belt a little more and it picks that up. The Rode is gonna like blow out and clip a lot easier, I think. But I hate the way I sound on a Shure. I sound kind of nasally. Like this is a Shure, but I have Isotope. What's it? Yeah, Isotope RX 11, which is pretty expensive, but they go on sale a lot. And you can get like an RX 9 or RX 10, and then you can, when it goes on sale again, you can pay a very small amount to upgrade it, which I don't know why they do that, but I think I paid $100 for the full suite of plugins, and it's like normally 1,000 or something. But I use that a lot for cutting my mouth clicks and harsh S noises, my sibilances and plosives and things like that. Isotope, it's IZOTOP. And RX 11 is what I have. I think is the most modern one. I don't know if they have another one since then. Their denoise algorithm is the best. It doesn't. A lot of the denoising things will just like cut all of your voice out and just you kind of just sound like a robot. But theirs is really good. Yeah. Any other questions? A robot? I've done a couple robots. Hold on. Oh, I need water for this. But it's so funny. I always get shaky when I'm on a stage because I'm used to talking in a box by myself is what I always say. But I always think of robots to sound like doing like a C3PO or a not quite C3PO, but that kind of vaguely British, but weirdly jumping around kind of, or not. I like to have a little bit of a humanality to them, but there's so many ways. It really depends on the robot, I guess. That's a thing. Do you have a question? Or you just put your hand up. Go ahead. I have one on here, the Dune one. Did you see that or? Okay, I'll play it again. Yeah, I'm so proud of it. It's not much, but I have other ones, but they're all like 3-minute long clips. Because we have time. I can find some stuff.
Spacing Booth is authorized to request. Your vessels have been granted access to Arrakis. It was a pleasure doing business with you.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's see. And my computer is such a mess of files, I doubt I could find anything on here. Ranger's Path. I did a National Park Simulator ad called Ranger's Path, and I thought it was so funny that they had me do it. I wonder if they were like, where's the one I did? Oh, I should have planned for this, huh? There it is.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're visiting Fairmount National Park. And wow, the first thing you see when you arrive is the Ranger Village, with its cozy cabins, visitor center, and the Big Bear statue. From here, our adventure starts. So we decided to head out on the Ring Rock Trail first, and guess what? Not even 5 minutes in, we already spotted our first animal. The park has a whole range of hiking trails, from short, easy walks to more challenging climbs. No matter your level, there's a trail here for you. My absolute highlight? This giant waterfall. Just breathtaking. And then we came across a massive sequoia tree. Honestly, standing next to it makes you feel so tiny.
It's kind of funny showing off ads to me because I'm like, I have friends that are like, I'm never going to watch anything you do. It's just ads. But I do. that one was good for me too, because I did a whole audio tour of the road system. So we have a tour from Fairbanks to Homer and to Seward that I voiced, and every like couple miles there's a little tidbit of information. It's audio tour Alaska. Let's see if they've got some clips on here. Probably not. But yeah, I think if you download the app, there's some stuff on there that you can listen to for free. What else we got? Yeah, that's acting. Even I have to stop myself sometimes like if I'm just talking to people, I'm like doing a voice, and they're like, "You don't sound like you." I'm like, "I'm just talking, getting into my acting voice." Because sometimes I just sit down here if I'm not really thinking about it too. But yeah. There are so many different ways that most of it is auditioning, where I submit my audio and there's like thousands of other people who are auditioning. Or sometimes I'm like, if I just see there's like 5 people who have auditioned, I'm like, I'm in there, let me go. But yeah, every once in a while I'll get like the Audio Tour Alaska. Doug, the guy that writes this, he found me because I was the only voice actor he could find based in Alaska. And he's like, I hope you know how to pronounce things, because everyone I've tried to hire does not know how to pronounce anything. Like, yeah, cool. I worked in Bethel, I've been everywhere. And it's like, oh, he wants me to pronounce Denina wrong and whatever. But it's a whole thing. Yeah. You had another question too? That's a good question. I don't know. Funniest voice I could ever make? Okay. I don't know. You can't put me up. Favorite voice? I like my own voice. I like my normal voice, but yeah. The stuff I get hired for the most is unfortunately just the normalest stuff. But I've been hired to be a demon several times, and it's just the same. They want the exact same thing, and it's just all the way down here, and I don't do much else than that. I can't put a lot of inflection here, so there's not a lot of emotion going on. Actually, hold on. Oh, I don't know where that video is. That's not online. There's a crazy clip of me screaming like that, but I can't do that right now, or else I'll blow my voice out for the whole weekend. But yeah, warm-ups are very important if you decide to do voice acting. Doing lots of ups and downs. Yeah. Yeah, you did ask me that yesterday. I can get pretty high up there if I try, but it's hard to stay up there. Oh, well, not really, I guess. I guess I can keep going higher and higher and higher. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what? Siri? Recalculating. Turn left. Well, that's what I would probably do. Something like that. It's just we're doing that, you know. I don't even know if you need to start practicing before you start. But castingcall.club, there's a lot of people post things on there, and you can sort by what kind of stuff you want to look for. I think Character Works kind of on there, at least it's the easiest to get into, just because there's hundreds of people, well, probably thousands of people posting things like almost every day that are, yeah. I have done entire books narrated as a female character. I have to settle into it though. There's so much like I kind of do like a mental prep work when I'm sitting in the booth. So or I'll warm up to it and just start talking. I'll start talking a little bit more feminine, I guess, but it's not much different, really. But I've done a lot like that. I've done tons, and every woman character I've done before is also different, so it's interesting to sit there, I guess. I've got to figure out which one I'm doing. Practice. Practice. Just mostly copying people. I didn't do any school for acting. I'd like to say that most of the learning I did was in customer service, because I was, when you go in with having a terrible day and then you're crying and then you go, "Hi, how's it going? Welcome to Grant," or whatever. And that's all feels like acting to me. And then I've always loved fantasy stuff. I've loved video games, and I just practice sounding like characters I like. Big one's Matthew Mercer with McCree on Overwatch. We do a lot of cowboy stuff. That's just easy for me, I guess. I'm from Texas. I grew up in Texas, but it's switching is really hard for some people. They carry a lot of voices over between them. So I don't know how I do that. That's just how my brain works, swapping quickly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lower. I didn't have to try very hard, unfortunately, to make my voice lower. One day, I just had a low voice, and my brothers made fun of me. They're like, "Oh, you think you're so cool with your low voice?" I'm like, "I'm not doing anything." Hmm. Not worth it. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. I was 20, I think. I was very much just like, I kept dipping my toe into it, and I didn't really commit to or just like looking things up online and not really finding anything, and didn't really know where to look. So that's why this was like castingcall.club. If I would have, I don't think it existed until I was like 20, which is like 10, 11 years ago. So, and I started finding stuff on there, and I would get something every once in a while before that, or doing the radio before that. So, but yeah. Playing Dungeons and Dragons is my favorite part of it, is where I started to feel like I could do more voices, doing character stuff there. But I couldn't tell you the age I was when someone like at a grocery store was like, "Oh my gosh, you have a radio voice." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean? What do I do with that?" And then I had a friend that worked at KDLL in Soldotna, or in Kenai, the public radio, and she's like, "We got to get you on the radio. We're gonna do a show." So we did a public radio show for like a volunteer DJ thing. So it wasn't like really a show, or a talking show, but we did talk. Yeah. I'm scared every time I stand in front of people and talk. It's, I can't see, my hand's still shaking. But yeah, sending out auditions, there's some disconnect in my brain where I don't think about it. Or like if I was sending something to a narrator that I loved, or like someone I was really into, I'd be like, I got to make it perfect. And I would like really sit there forever. But sometimes you just got to send stuff off. But otherwise, the auditions, you just got to send it and forget it, and not think about it. If you think it's good enough. And, yeah. but I did. And that one was a really weird, that was one of the gig working sites I'm on where it was just like, it came through 3 a.m. I was sitting awake by chance, and it was like, we need a British voice to do a thing. So the first one I did was like, we are now authorizing your request. You are granted access to Arrakis. And they were like, we want it to sound more sinister. So it's like, oh yeah, I can do that, absolutely. But it was just a totally random thing. I didn't audition for that at all. And that's like, how do I use this? Yeah, just right place, right time. That the website I'm on, it's like the first person to click accept gets the job, which is not great for me since I'm in Alaska and most of the stuff comes through at East Coast time, and like, but I've gotten lots of great stuff there because I stay up late. They put filters on that one, but the base of it is all me, and it's just like they put like a warble, watery sound on it, I think, but. Yeah. I've pulled all-nighters before, but not in the last decade, but too old for that now, but yeah. Definitely have. Last month I was working on a project that had a midnight deadline, and I didn't get it done until 2 in the morning because I was working as hard as I could, but yeah, editing takes a while. Yeah. That one specifically, I have 26 minutes to record and send it off. So that one I was like, hope they like it. I want to be in a Dune video real bad. And it's like, it's such a weird gig working world for a lot of voice acting stuff where I can't even talk to them. I can't ask them what they think. They get it from the company that I send it to, and they say whether they like it or not, and then they come back to me, and it's like, guys, let me in your game, please. But yeah. Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, I've done several audiobooks. These are the big novels I've done recently, or I'm working on the last one, The Book of the Witch's Son, but I've done a lot of other stuff under a pseudonym just because it's kind of slop, to say it otherwise, and I love narrating because I like playing D&D, so it feels like I'm being every character in a story, and building characters' voices is really fun and interesting for me. So getting to do that constantly, or in some of these, there's like a one-off character that only exists for half a second or one line, so I get to do a really weird voice for those, and just Michael Kramer was my big one. Yeah. I can't listen to him while I'm narrating because I start to do he kind of does like a thing. He kind of does that. And I'm like, I don't want to sound like that, but I do like he keeps me engaged. I'm listening to a lot of Nick Podell right now. He did yeah. Mark Thompson, I don't know, but okay. Yeah. Same. Well, if you want to try these out, I hope you like them. Yeah. The first two listed here, almost none at all. Or like they want the main characters voiced, and I send that to them, and that's about all I get. And then this last one it's not done yet because we redid a couple of the characters. The author's very involved, and so much of what I do, I don't get any direction, and it feels insane to me because I'm so invested in what happens, and if the author or whatever director doesn't care, I like, it feels like they don't care. But I'm like, maybe I just did good enough. Maybe it's just perfect on the first try. Hard to say. But yeah. I love feedback. I want to know what they think. I want to iterate. 'Cause yeah. It's very hit and miss. I would say on average I make like $300 a month. But last month I made $3,000 in 1 month just on voice acting, which was crazy to me. So that was above average. A lot of stuff I don't get paid until later, so it's like I'll do a big chunk of it, and then 6 months later I'll get paid $1,000 or whatever. Yeah. Absolutely. There are AI writers that it's a form you can have someone sign that says they're not going to clone your voice, but anything that affects your voice quality that would prevent AI from cloning it also makes it kind of sound worse. So it's hard to do things like that. But definitely I wouldn't sign on to anything without a contract at this point that says they can't clone my voice. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely doing D&D is what I was most interested in. But that was what I was most curious about it, because I was into Critical Role and all of those guys are voice actors, so I was kind of like, I could do that. I can do those characters. So, and it's just experimenting. Yeah. The one I'm finishing now, The Book of the Witch's Son, is really good. I have listened to myself for thousands and thousands of hours. So, but I've re-listened to the Drow book recently, just because I was like, let's see if it holds up, because it was one of the first bigger books I'd done, and I think it's good. Yeah. Do you have a question too? That I created? I don't do a lot of the character creation as a voice actor usually, because there's like someone else is the author or the screenwriter or script writer, but it's just me. I'm a character. Yeah, everyone's a character, but the first really interesting character. I don't know if I have a good answer for you. It's been years. It's probably a D&D character I played before that was just an edgier version of me whose parents died, and I was an orphan and I had to live on my own. The classic. Yeah, Oh yeah, on the streets, an urchin, yeah. Anyone else have any questions? I've done a little bit of that. That's still kind of location based. There's some in Anchorage that every time I've looked, they're like, we're not accepting anyone. And I've sent them cold emails, but no response. So it's kind of what it is. Which a lot of the coaches I've worked with or like talked to, they're like, you don't need an agent. It's a lot of sending out cold emails to get gigs, which is how I started working with Wyatt. I sent him a DM on Twitter when that was still a thing. So I was like, hey, you're a game dev in Alaska. I'm a voice actor in Alaska. And he was very hesitant to do any voice acting work on any of his stuff. I'm like, we should just, it's really cheap actually, because we talk into the microphones. And so we're trying to get more people in on the game we're working on now. So if you guys email me on some stuff, or once we get we'll start looking for people once we get to that point, but definitely gonna start in Bethel because it's a lot of native characters, and we want Alaskan people in it in general. So, but yeah. Anyone else? How's that feel? You guys like voice acting? Everyone's excited to go act? Yeah. All right. We'll end it there. Thanks everyone. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it a lot.